Hey Himanshu, how are you?
Pretty good yourself.
Thank you for asking, Himanshu. First of all, like congratulations to get a very good score, which is like 8 overall and 9 in speaking. So, how are you feeling, first of all?
Well, I'm feeling good, obviously, because the reason I need my score for the requirement is already fulfilled, and I'm looking forward for my plans in future.
Okay, that's great, Himanshu. So, I would just quickly, like you to share your experience with like IELTS Simplified or like my training. Like, how was it? Like, were you satisfied with whatever things have been given to you?
Mhm. I was pretty much satisfied with my experience with you guys because as I'm working full time, and most of the time, like due to COVID, I was working overtime, so I do barely had any time with my studies. So I like the flexibility you offer to your clients, number one, and the material you offer, which is actually good. The third thing is the way you teach your students. That's what I love about it. So yes, for sure, I will surely recommend my friends, and I already did recommended some friends. So I guess it's pretty obvious.
Okay, thank you so much, Himanshu. And Himanshu, I think you have taken your academic examination before in India, right? But right now you're in Canada. So, did
Mhm.
you face or experience any changes, or did you face any differences in the way I teach and the other trainers teach in the tips and tricks?
Well, I guess in India, I went to like two pre-institutes. Well, not more than a week in any of those. So uh, the better one out of those was, I guess, Touchstone. The only reason I don't like Touchstone is because it's not possible for me to actually go to 9 to 5 to an institute just for an IELTS. So that could not be working for me right now. With you, it was only like 1.5 hours, which covers pretty much everything out of my syllabus. And I guess that was a good part. So you could actually continue your job or your studies along with your IELTS.
Okay. So, like you did score 9 in speaking. So, how did you actually, manage to score that? Would you recommend
Uh,
anything to like rest of my students, or like what exactly different did you do that you could score 9 bands?
Actually, it was actually surprising for me because I was expecting something between 8 and 8.5 because my speaking actually went well. So the thing with that is it's a subconscious thing I'm going to tell you because whenever I'm talking with a person like a white person, it's something subconscious that you just pick up the like proper American accent. So speaking with you, I don't know, it doesn't triggers that. It's something subconscious, you know. So, but my speaking was, I find that it was filled with full of sarcasm. Like she was asking me questions, and I don't know, like she was a really nice lady to talk with, though. But like we pretty much shared same sense of humor, and my speaking was filled with sense of humor. Like I answered a lot of questions. I can't even tell you. Like if I tell you, you're gonna turn blue laughing. Like she literally asked me like, okay, let's tell me about the numbers. Like, what do you think about the numbers? Like, do you care about the numbers? Well, she meant into the astrological sense, you know, like some people they think they're superstitious about the numbers. She meant that, and I answered that was my first question, and she answered me. She questioned me that, and my answer was, well, I don't really care about the number unless it's the number on my paycheck. If it is on the six figures, I will be good.
Oh,
And
that
she
was amazing.
yeah, and there were some questions after even after that. I was being so informal and like it was full of sarcasm. I know like it doesn't go with the IELTS thing, but that's how the things are because you could take that like in North America, like even with my job interviews, I just tell them like absurd things and they will be laughing and they take it in a good sense. So I guess that's the difference.
Okay. Apart from that, Himanshu, like I know that you're pretty much a natural speaker. Like apart from being a natural speaker and the way you use your sense of humor to basically, impress your examiner, did you
Mhm.
use some technicalities that I have taught you? Like, did that help you?
Well, I do use a lot of idioms. I guess a couple of them. if not more than that, and some phrases which are like the normal North American phrases, like the slang. I use the slang. I know like we're not supposed to do that, but I just did. So I used some slangs, North American slangs. I used some idioms. I used a lot of complex sentences. My speaking was like literally my cue card was actually full of. I'm sorry, my mistake. My cue card was like pretty simple. I just kept it low key
Uh-huh.
because I didn't had any time to do the idioms and complex sentences in my cue card.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just barely manage to speak like 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's how was it. But in the cross questioning, like the third round, what
Uh-huh.
I did, I just molded the questions so I could actually use all the complex structures, like you told me, like not only but also, although, yet. So I used all the 8 complex sentences in my speaking. I couldn't do that in the cue card because it's not in my hand, like I'm
Of
thinking and speaking at the same time. But for the questions, I could actually mold them in a way that I could use them. So I just used all the sentences in the third part.
Yeah, so that was like amazing and smart thing to do, because since you forgot to use those things in part one and part two, so just incorporate all of the things in part three and impress your examiner, right? That was something
I,
you've done,
I,
right?
I, I guess it's more easier because in the cue card, you're talking and you're thinking at the same time, and you don't have enough time. So I guess it's easier if you just use the sequencing in the second part and leave everything else for the third part.
Yeah.
That worked for me though.
Okay, Himanshu, like what about the writing? Like I can see that you could not score 7 and above. You did score 6.5. So was it something that lagged basically in your writing part? What happened in writing basically? I just wanted to know that.
Well, if I tell you the story about that, you're gonna laugh. So see what happened was because I was practicing all my stuff on the computer, as you know, like we were checking all the stuff like on the MS Word.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened, like from last 5 years being here, I never actually wrote anything like an essay or a letter. So that was a bad idea to leave that for the exam day. So what happened when I went there, I was able to write a nice essay. It was a problem solution and a nice letter. But the thing with me is I make a lot of mistakes in punctuation. So what I do is I just leave all that for the end. I'm gonna complete my essay, then I'm complete my letter, and then I'm gonna do the punctuation thing. So the essay and the letter I wrote, by the end of my exam, I was writing my name. I remember like Manchu Sharma. I couldn't write my last name because they picked up my sheet.
Oh,
So okay, so you could imagine that my essay and my letter, they don't have a single comma, not even a full stop, and still it was 6.5. So satisfied
so
because
basically,
when you don't put
you could not, proofread. That I always suggest, like my students to do that. Like planning and proofreading are the two things that you should do must, because these are like the pillar. If you don't plan, you will take a lot of time to write your essay. If you don't proofread, you will make silly mistakes, and that will definitely will
yeah.
end up you'll end up losing your bands. So any
Well,
suggestions? Okay, go ahead.
well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but my only suggestion would be actually write the stuff. Like, well, okay, it's okay. It's easier to check with the typing stuff, but actually write because I just left for my exam day, and that turned out to be bad for me. So I would suggest people to actually write down the stuff on a notebook, so they're gonna know like how fast they could actually write. Because I'm good with the typing, I could do that in like 40 minutes, but I'm not as good as in writing. So
So yeah, it's basically either you should go for like the computer-based exam, or you should start practicing on the paper pen itself. Don't leave it to the
exactly,
exam day, right? So that like it will
exactly,
be something new for you, and you might end up, wasting your time or not managing your time properly, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Himanshu, like last but not least, I would just, like you to tell all of my students if you have any recommendation overall, like how was the journey and anything that you would like to suggest to my viewers or students.
Well, especially I'm not sure for the students because I didn't do the academic one, but for the general one, and I assume all the people pursuing the general IELTS are working, most probably full time. So if anybody who's watching me and who is working full time, so you guys do have an opportunity to work full time, and at the same time, you guys could prepare IELTS with a good instructor. So you guys go for that. I'm already recommending my friends. I'm sending my friends, so it's pretty obvious, I guess. And yeah, my journey was well. I scored, my requirement was fulfilled. I'm looking forward for the things in the future.
Thank you so much, Himanshu. And it was great talking to you. It was great having you as one of my students. And I hope you will get your PR very, very soon with all the procedures done. So thank you so
Mhm.
much and have a great day. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Have a good one. Bye.